What if I told you the stone was never in his way? We've pictured it so many times. A sealed tomb, a trapped Messiah, 3 days of silence, then an angel descends. The stone rolls. Jesus walks out. But that's not what the text says. In Matthew 28:2, notice the order. There is an earthquake, an angel rolls the stone away, and then he sits on it. There is no description of Jesus pushing, no moment of strain, no dramatic exit scene, because by the time the stone moves, he is already gone. The stone wasn't moved so Jesus could get out. It was moved so the world could see in. And if that's true, then we've been looking at resurrection the wrong way. We rush to the earthquake, but resurrection didn't begin with shaking ground. Verse 1 says, after the Sabbath, at dawn, before the women arrive, before the angel descends, before the guards collapse, something has already happened. In the dark, in silence, unseen. No audience, no disciples, no applause. The greatest reversal in history happens without a single human witness. Think about that. Death is defeated, and no one is there to clap. Hell is undone, and Jerusalem is asleep. The heartbeat of the Son of God returns, and the city does not even stir. We love spectacle. God chose silence. Because resurrection was never about performance. It was about power. By the time the stone moves, Jesus is not waiting to escape. He is already alive. The miracle didn't start when heaven touched the rock. It started when life entered a lifeless body. The stone was not an obstacle to resurrection. It was an obstacle to revelation. And that changes how we see everything. Let's remember what stood in front of that grave. A massive stone, a Roman seal. Armed guards. This wasn't a forgotten burial. It was politically protected. Rome had authority. Religious leaders had motive. Fear had organized security. They weren't guarding a corpse. They were guarding against a claim, against a prophecy, against the possibility that Jesus meant what he said. If I rise, so they seal the tomb, as if stone can outvote God, as if empire can restrain eternity. But heaven does not negotiate with seals. An angel descends. The earth trembles. The guards, trained soldiers, shake and become like dead men. Notice the divine irony. The living one stands free. The living soldiers fall like corpses. Heaven does not struggle. It interrupts. The stone doesn't slowly budge. It yields. Because when resurrection power arrives, security systems become scenery. And then Matthew gives us a detail we often overlook. The angel rolls the stone away and sits on it. He sits, not panting, not bracing, not preparing for resistance. He sits like a king taking a throne. In Scripture, sitting signals completion, authority, rest after victory. The stone that was meant to seal death becomes a seat. The object meant to silence Christ becomes a stage for heaven. This is not a jailbreak. This is a declaration. The stone is not being removed in panic. It is being repositioned in triumph. Not because Jesus needs a door, but because humanity needs evidence. The women arrived trembling. They did not come looking for resurrection. They came carrying spices. They expected decay. They expected finality. And the angel says, "He is not here, for he has risen as he said." As he said. Resurrection is not an accident, not a surprise twist, not divine improvisation. It is promise fulfilled. Notice what the angel does next. Come, see the place where he lay. See, faith is invited to examine. God does not fear inspection. The tomb is open not for Jesus to exit, but for witnesses to enter. The empty space preaches. The absence is the sermon. Death had custody for 3 days, but it could not keep him. And by the time the women look inside, victory is already old news in heaven. If Jesus was already risen, why move it? Later he will enter locked rooms. Doors do not restrain him. Walls do not intimidate him. So why open the tomb? Because resurrection is not only an event to accomplish, it is a truth to reveal. The stone was in their way. It blocked sight. It sealed despair. It confirmed hopelessness. And God removes what blocks vision. Not because he is trapped, but because we are. The stone was not imprisoning Christ. It was imprisoning perspective. And sometimes the miracle in your life is not God getting free. It's God clearing your line of sight. Now it gets personal. The stone in Matthew 28 is physical, but the stones in our lives are not. Doubt, grief, shame, disappointment, prayers that seemed unanswered, promises that felt delayed. We assume the stone means defeat. We assume silence means God lost. But what if the resurrection has already happened? What if heaven has already moved and we're still staring at the rock? Jesus did not need that stone removed to live. He was already victorious. The stone was removed so fearful hearts could step closer, so grieving women could run with joy, so disciples hiding in rooms could become witnesses to the world. The obstacle was never his weakness, it was our blindness. Matthew does not end at the tomb. The risen Christ meets his disciples and declares, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me." Not survival, authority, not escape, kingship. The one who didn't need the stone moved now sends them into the world. Go therefore. Resurrection is not just proof that he lives, it is proof that he reigns. The stone was not rolled away so Jesus could step into freedom. It was rolled away so humanity could step into faith. He was already alive. He was already victorious. He was already reigning. The only question left is, will you look inside? Will you bring your failure to the place where death lost its power? Because the stone was never in his way, it was in yours, and it isn't anymore.